Good morning. Ugh. So, did I actually... Oh, shit. Fuck. Hold on a second. I just realized something. I don't think I actually, Oh, no, I did. No, I did. I did do those. I thought I already did that. There were some VODs I didn't think I highlighted. But no, we did. So that's all good. Yeah, apparently my sleep pattern is just kind of fucked. I don't know what's up. Like, the only thing that's really changed in my diet over, like, the last, like, week or two, or the only, like, major thing that's changed, period, is just, like, I think I've had a little bit more sugar. Fuck, maybe that is actually why I haven't been sleeping as well. Yeah, that might actually explain it. Fuck me. Oh. Guess I gotta be a bit more careful. Like, basically, I was waiting for a bunch of, like, blood tests and stuff like that to come back, because, yeah, between my eyes and a couple other things have been happening, I thought there was, like, something, maybe related to, like, diabetes or something happening. Because apparently, like, I found out recently that runs in my family. But no, I got the all clear, last time, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I cut out a lot of sugar, and I won't go back to how much I was actually having, but, because, yeah, that actually improved things. Yeah, apparently that's... It wouldn't surprise me if that's, like, causing me to not sleep as well. Yeah, like, I thought there'd be more time for this, today, to, like, get through a heap. Because I realized yesterday that, I actually had 3 rolls ready to go. I thought I only had 2, but I forgot that, like, during the leveling process, I leveled up Sage alongside it, so both Picto and Sage were ready to go. And then I leveled Paladin, because that was the highest level tank I had, and it was getting, or tank as a role was getting a lot of, adventure and need bonuses from the roulette, and I need those, well, I want those for materia. So I was spamming those a fair bit then. And then I was leveling Dancer last night, thinking that I didn't have Samurai at 90 on Aldine, but apparently I did, so... Yeah, I'm leaving Melee until last, apparently. Which is a bit of a shame, because I would have preferred to level up Samurai as opposed to, Dancer, but, you know, here we are. But yeah, we make the most of it regardless. Last thing I want to do is just, like, abandon a stream, just because, I woke up a bit late. It was a trap I got caught in a while ago. Where I was just like, if I'm not doing the full, you know, time I allotted, then it's not worth it. But no, I want to make fucking progress, so... Yeah, I think it looks like we're all good to go. I did see a hiccup. Oh, actually, wait, where's Moobot gone? Did I already have that open at some point? I swear I had that open at some point. Weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, well, let's get started. Yeah, evidently we're chasing after the Council of Doom equivalent. And it's a weird one. Like, this seems very disconnected. Well, no, actually, it does have some relation to something we've seen before, and it was the beginning of the Viper quest line, where a Tural visual found its way to Eorzea, and Viper are hunting it down. Here it seems like a similar-ish thing. Like, if I recall correctly, they were all looking for something they could take to Eorzea to, cause havoc there. I don't... Man, maybe I should have left the quest that initiates the role quest. Oh, no, because I think the thing that initiated the role quest was an MSQ thing. But I do kind of wish I could get a recount before we went through with it, but we'll get that when we actually accept the quest, I'm sure. So, we're going to start off with magic ranged, because of course we are. You'll know how I play this at this point. Hello, Suhei. Suhei seeks an adventurer with a penchant for the magical. Oh, hello. Did Brokavu send you to help recover our stolen treasure? Oh, thank the heavens. Judging by your accoutrement, you're learned in the arcane arts, yes? If so, we've need of your power and wisdom. Yeah, well, you got it. I got the Valak Armando weapon. Truth be told, it is wisdom that we require most. You see, even though the treasure has been guarded by our people for generations, we know little of its true nature. Weird kind of camera work there. In ages past, the forests of our homeland were plagued with terrible beasts, a constant source of fear and danger. To combat this menace, our mages spent many moons researching the treasure known as the Perch of the Apex. Upon unlocking its secrets, they were able to drive the monsters from the woods, bringing peace at last. With the threat all but eradicated, our forebears forbade any further use of the treasure and enshrined it within the village. Okay, I was gonna say, I've gone over the MSQ a little bit just from like other people playing it and also scattering opinions here and there. I've tried to let it just sink in mostly. But one of the things that I think still kind of bothers me about some stuff in the MSQ is there's like one or two examples of like people just forgetting a really important thing in their culture. And having someone else basically, like, remind them of it. It's a little bit of a problem, both from a writing perspective and I guess and representation perspective. On the writing perspective, it's just not believable that, it's believable that parts of a culture would come to appreciate it less, and, generations that didn't rely on it or were around for the importance of it might not appreciate the importance of it, right? And when you try and teach that, some people will pick up on it, some people won't, some people will look at it differently, and, it's all part of kind of, cultural evolution and, younger generations looking back on what the older generation's doing and choosing for themselves what they actually want. It's a very real thing that happens, just everywhere. But just having, no one of that society suggests, oh, this was actually really important to us, and maybe we should actually do it again. And, more importantly, not understanding the mechanical reason that it's actually important is kind of not very believable. I buy it a bit more if, for example, there are a couple of people in the village saying, no, we need to get the festival done. And everyone else is like, what are you talking about? We're having a food shortage problem. What the hell do you think the festival is going to do? And, maybe they struggle to actually make people believe and talk about them. Or maybe they've even lost some of the particulars because it was so long ago that it was established that it's become more tradition than, like, a thing that needs to happen, or a thing that makes their society function, if that makes sense. And having either an older person or a person learned in their history actually remind them, so they're like, oh shit, that's why that was important, and then they show that, right? But, like, with the Hanu Hanu, that just becomes, like, this one excitable person who is really in charge of it talks to a massive history nerd, and that person ends up teaching that society about that again. Now, the one caveat to this, I will note, is that it's possible the elder of the Hanu Hanu actually knew, but because of the trial, they didn't fix it themselves because they needed something for the claimants to be tested against. And granted, it's a great test. Outside of the kind of morals of, like, starving your own people potentially to just have that happen, it's definitely an interesting challenge that I think gets to the heart of a lot of things that will happen further throughout the MSQ. But from a writing perspective, the fact that no one suggests that the festival is important beyond just, like, it cheering people up is a bit absurd. But from the representation point of view too, like, it's a bit weird for the people who are not of the culture to remind those people why their culture is like that. Like, it's not, like, on the level of white savior shit, but it's getting there, because it's just kind of like, oh, this society forgot what they needed to do to function, and it's like, why? You telling me no one thought that the festival was important? Like, no one at all? So at the very least, I'm glad they're like, hey, this really important thing to our past was really powerful and really important, but then our forebears said, do not fucking use that thing, and, like, sealed it away, essentially. So now there's at least, like, no, we are protecting our people from having to use this again, because this is potentially very dangerous. I thought for a moment, like, we're gonna go down that road again, which... The premise opens up, obviously, opportunities, but I think there's a problem with just, like, hey, culture we've never seen before, forgot why these things work, and then, like, without that being the point, and actually examining that, if that makes sense. Anyway, daily ramble. With the threat all but eradicated, our forebears forbade any further use of the treasure, and enshrined it within the village. As years passed, we slowly forgot what it was to live in fear. Yet, as our struggles faded into memory, stories surrounding the perch of the apex became legend, then myth. Now, none living are certain of its true power. Yet, the peace was shattered by a member of the Passage of the Unbound. The villain wheeled his way into our trust, then stole upon my husband, the treasure's appointed guardian, catching him unaware with a terrible blow that left him unconscious. He is yet to awaken. So my daughter, Tepeki, has set forth to retrieve what was stolen. Unlike her father, she has no skill in the arcane arts and chose the path of the sword. And that's probably who I'll be helping. That's why I've been seeking someone with the knowledge she lacks, should the ancient power be released, or unleashed. Please, if you can find it in your heart to help Tepeki, I would be forever grateful. Oh, consider it done. Like, in reality, it's probably the bottom one, but I feel like Aldine wouldn't phrase it that way. Oh, thank you. Now, our only clue to the thief's whereabouts is from something he mentioned during his stay in our village. He spoke of his desire to bring change to a place called Radzat-Han. Oh, good. That is where Tepeke decided to begin her search, so she boarded a ferry bound there by way of Limsa Laminsa, with her trusted sword and shield close at hand. That's how you'll know her. She's the only sword and shield user in all of Radzat-Han. She agreed to stay in Radzat-Han to gather information until aid arrived. I know nothing of the place, but it's likely she can be found in a marketplace or some such. Please bring our treasure and my daughter safely home. You got it, ma'am. Like, yeah, like, it's not the biggest problem in the world if you want to make one of these particular people's, like, just, yeah, actually, like, yeah, we've kind of, you know, tradition has kind of fallen out of favor because it's caused problems in the past, but it turns out that was actually really important, you know? There's ways to definitely do it. I just hope they don't do it for all of them. Like, I hope we roll up to one of them and they're like, dude, the world is about to end, and we're like, fuck do you mean by that? And then they explain, like, the intricate history of this thing, and we're like, oh, shit, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. She's got red eyes. Hi. Oh, you looking for me? Whatsoever for? Aldine, you say my mother sent you? I think she's already explained the details, such as how we know next to nothing of the treasure and its capabilities. We have only the legends passed down through our forebears to go on. They speak of a Tural Vidral, of an owl that once terrorized the forests, whose soul is sealed within the perch of the apex. The tales have only become more vague as the mists of time obscure the treasure's origin. Even our village elders remembers naught but an ominous warning uttered by those who once wielded its magics. The master of the apex shall be showered with good fortune, yet leave only sorrow in their wake. It's clear that despite owing their safety to the Apex's power, our forebears viewed it as something to be feared. It must be truly immense. Now, on the matter of the thief. Even during our brief acquaintance, he made plain his desire to bring change to Razat-Han. Naturally, I've started my search here and have been seeking anyone who's expressed dissatisfaction with the status quo. Sure enough, I soon heard stories of a recent arrival, self-styled savior of Razat-Han, who proclaims that he will lead the city to greatness and calls himself the Justicar. Is that how you pronounce that? I feel like C-I-A-R is not the way that's pronounced. Hold on.
Justicia.
Oh, Justicia. Okay. That's probably a very young Wharfie reading that word for the first time and going, Justicar. Again, weird. I wonder if that framing is as weird for non-Ellison. He's apparently taken on the burden of personally exterminating the beasts which infest Thavnir's wilds. He made a great show of claiming he alone is equal to the task. While he certainly draws a crowd with his boasting, they only watch with morbid curiosity as he sets off into the jungles alone. I realize this could have nothing to do with our problem, but even the smallest lead must be pursued. I've heard he often gives his speeches at the region's smaller settlements, so should we go to see this Justicia ourselves? It's decided. I hear Yedley would be a good place to start. Hopefully there we can find our next crumb of a clue. I'm probably not going to give these characters much of an accent, and more just, like, texture and character in their voices. It's been a bit since I've heard voice acting from Dawn Trail specifically, and I don't... I'd rather not, like, try and fail to remember how to do, like, a Wooklamat voice or something like that. Oh, you know what I never fucking did when I was leveling? Do a goddamn, Oh, right. I never did the Allied Society stuff. Daka Sidara would have helped me with some XP getting through to level 91 on Dancer. Oops. Aldine, we're in luck. This boy saw the very man we seek. Uh... How did that... Why did that double advance? That's weird. Seems he gave the same grand speech about saving the people, claiming the danger lurked nearby before venturing forth to combat it alone. Yet the Radiant host could not, well, stand idle if there truly were beasts afoot, so one of them followed him. All we need to do is pick up their trail. Alright. He ran towards the shroud, but you might be able to spot him from is that gonna be a Y? Kadiayas? Kajayas? I feel like it's not Kajaya. Kadiaya's footsteps. You can see the whole forest from there. Thanks, you've been very helpful. So, Aldine, let's head there and see what we can see. We haven't got much from this character yet, but could be like a bit. Could be a bit hot-headed, but we haven't got much of that just yet. But obviously, like, we're, you know, what? 2 objectives into the quest line so far. It's not going to evolve that quickly. What that person's doing? Fate farming? There's a lot of fates around. Now then, let us begin our search. Since I've never actually seen the Justicia, I suggest we find the Radiant Host soldier first. They do all wear similar armor, after all. Oh, same line again. Search your surroundings for the Radiant. You may move the camera as well to zoom in. Yeah, okay. Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. I wanted to move it. That must be him, but what happened? We better get down there quickly. Was that meant to be a inner monologue? Because it had the text box of an inner monologue, but I didn't get a chance to look at what was in front of him. Not to worry, Aldine. He's unconscious, but otherwise appears unharmed. That's not from around here. What happened? Hi. We heard you came here in pursuit of the Justicia. Do you remember anything? Yes, I eventually found him. He was confronting that fiend that now lies dead. Huh. Fucking mail rah run. At last, the Justicia graces Haradzatan. I shall bring an unending peace to this beleaguered land. You're brave to follow in my path, if you indeed possess the mettle to even consider the terrors which threaten our home, let alone stand against them. Yet, courageous though you may be, you are far too weak to fell a beast so mighty. Quit this place with your life while you are yet able. Bro? Is that even native to here? I'm of the Radiant Hosts. If I ran from such a meager prey... If I ran from such meager prey, I would become a laughingstock. How bold to look death in the eye without flinching. I doubt not your conviction to defend Radzat Han, yet I believe it pales before mine. Is this what the Warrior of Light looks like to some people? Oh, Apex, bestow upon me your divine might. Do you not heed my call? I require your power more than ever. Is something supposed to happen? Why? Am I yet unworthy? Or maybe there is a button I must press? This is not what I expected. Stand aside. I'll dispose of this pest. Just give me a moment. It cannot end like this. I will be made a fool. Come on, you multi-trinket. Work! Transform me into the hero of Radzat Han. Oh. I see. He brandished that idol and became wreathed in mysterious light, then boulders started falling from the sky. Down they came, one after the other. That's when I must have been struck unconscious. Huh. I recall only faintly, but I think I heard the man mumbling, quite excitedly, as if he had come upon a sudden realization, or as if he was overtaken by madness. Seems he got away unscathed. Either he had an incredible stroke of luck, or whatever he was beseeching to actually answered. Which seems to... It's as I suspected. Justicia is the self-same thief who stole the perch of the Apex. But no doubt he's long departed from here. First, I'll escort this fellow back to Yedlimad and keep a close eye on him. Head wounds can have dreadful after effects. Yeah, good idea. I don't suppose there's high amounts of metal in those rocks by any chance. Soldier made his way to Radzat Han to make a formal report. What report it will be? His accounts seem to align with legends of the treasure's powers. The wielder escaped unharmed and brought ruin to those around him. Could those falling rocks have been a freak accident? I'm not so sure. You won't believe it! He came back! Oh? Who came back? The Justicia? Yes, not long after you left. Ugh, of course. He said he'd beat up a monster that knocked out a Radiant, and he was laughing his head off. Did he really do that? Is he really stronger than the Radiants? No. Whatever he did, the monster was slain, I suppose. Well, my mate can't stop talking about him. He wants to be just like the Justicia. His mum and dad weren't happy about that, though. I'd advise you and your friend to look for a different role model. But we thank you for telling us what happened. There is one less fiend skulking about, I suppose. It may have been simply testing the treasure's capabilities, and as far as we know, he's yet to use its power to evil ends. I find his motivations a mystery. To sell the perch of the Apex by force, only to come here to Thavnir and use it for good? It makes no sense. You've heard tell of this passage of the Unbound, yes? Many have ventured to Tural claiming to be their victims, yet here they would be saviors? If he had such noble goals, then why did he stoop to such devious deception? What could he be plotting? Good question. But that's neither here nor there. He stole from my people, and that misdeed can't be forgiven. The Perch of the Apex helped us win peace. By its might, our forebears built the foundation of the lives we now lead. Till recently, it stood silent, a symbol of our pride as a people. It reminded us that we carved out a home within that inhospitable wilderness. Being trusted with its protection is a great honor. I was so proud of my father when the elders chose him. So proud to be his daughter. Yet since the day it was stolen, some of the other villagers made their disdain towards him only too clear. I couldn't bear it. That's why I must get it back. To restore my village's pride and my father's reputation. There's still so much we don't know about this Justicia, but we have to assume he's learned to wield the Apex's power. Can't say whether those falling rocks have anything to do with it, but I won't discount it outright. I'll continue looking into his whereabouts. While we still have so many questions, with both of us working together, we'll find answers soon enough. Hell yeah. Alright, number 2, A Brand of Justice. Tepeke wears a troubled expression. Aldine, afraid there has been some developments that are less than encouraging. News of the Justicia's actions have spread throughout the city, and with each retelling, his deeds become more valorous. The young citizens in particular seem to view him as something of an idol. Oh, good. Despite the creatures he hunts posing no real danger, he would paint them as mighty beasts in need of felling. Of course, the Radiant hosts are far too busy to trouble themselves culling every pest that casts a sideways glance at the city's gates. Yet the Justicia has twisted circumstances to his advantage. He proclaims to anyone who will listen that the Radiant hosts shrink with terror before these beasts, and that he's the only one who can eradicate them. Though you might expect such claims to be dismissed as wild ramblings, it seems no few people have fallen for his ploy. The whispers of his exploits among the youth have practically grown into a clamour. Yet we mustn't be discouraged, for his increasing fame only makes it easier for us to sniff out his trail. And where better to start than Razat Han? I'll see you there, Aldine. Interesting. Given how large the city is, let's split up and cover more ground. I already have a destination in mind, the High Crucible. I hear the alchemists there can concoct all manners of tinctures and powders, including those which help in detecting traces of energies left behind by magics and enchanted tools. Fallen rocks have invariably marked locations where the Justicar has performed one of his feats. I believe an alchemical mixture can help us determine if their presence is the work of the treasure. Oh, that's smart. I'm hardly an expert in such concoctions, though, so I'll seek the advice of the High Crucible. While I'm doing that, I would ask you to go to the Hall of the Radiant Host and see if they have any information on the Justicia's whereabouts. Does that sound agreeable to you? Yeah, sure. Great. Now that we both have our tasks, let's get to them. I'll meet you back here once my business is done. Oh, I get to talk to, what's her name again? Maybe? Oh, no, we're not doing the ones near the role quests. I don't think I've been in this room before. Yeah. I'm tired of hearing about this Justiciar. His popularity among the city's younglings is quickly becoming a cause for concern. Try as we might to refute his claims that the Radiant host are allowing monstrous beasts to run amok unchecked. You know how young minds are. Questionable and difficult to change once set. We initially disregarded him as a boastful eccentric, but his alarming sway over the people can no longer be ignored. We are at present considering whether to open a formal investigation into his activities. You and this ally of yours have done well in your search thus far. You even have a working theory about the falling stones. Quite impressive. Several of our number have encountered him during their patrols, only to lose sight of him under a hail of rocks. Such incidents have become all too frequent, and many in our ranks demand we act. For now, I'm afraid this is all the help I can offer. Please share what I've told you with your companion, and together we may yet unmask the Justiciar. I'm kind of surprised they didn't actually get you to talk to Shirabud. Ah, the mighty hero returns. You can almost hear the world take a collective sigh of relief with the blasphemies defeated. Still, it's no excuse for us to rest on our laurels. We will remain diligent in our search for potential threats. If any should arise, I hope we'll be able to call on you once more. Yeah. Alright, so the rocks continue to be a theme, which immediately makes me think either, like, some earthen magic or, like, literally just magnetism. But yeah. It's hard to know that the Radiant hosts are taking this seriously. Thank you for speaking with them, Aldine. I have good tidings as well. I explained the situation to the alchemists, and they provided a powder that should help detect traces of magic in the surrounding environment. I say help, because the powder reacts only faintly on its own. To function properly, it requires the skill of one practiced in the arcane arts. Luckily, I have you. I've committed the locations of all sightings of the Justiciar to memory, and the closest to us was at the Perfumed Rise. Let's hope this powder works as intended. Yeah. Where are we going? Oh, outside the Great Work. Oh, here we go. That made a weird noise when I dismounted. The Justiciar was sighted near here. I don't see any conspicuous stones around. Other conspicuous stones around. So I sprinkle the powder over this one. Now concentrate your focus, or eye, or whatever it is that's the locus of your power, and see if you can't detect any unnatural forces. Oh, you're not even going to get me to interact with it? Huh. Oh, okay. Okay, they wanted to do something fancy with it. I was gonna say, like, wow, no... Still not doing anything but talking NPCs, but... Huh. That was neat. So? Were you able to detect anything? Yeah, a lot of earthen magic in that. I knew you could do it! So, because there are no crystals in the rock, the energy you detected must be the remnants of some kind of spell. Is that right? And taking the story of the Radiant we rescued previously into account, we can conclude that the Justicia uses the treasure to call those stones down from the sky. I'm surprised they didn't get you to actually pick an option there that would color what you're talking about, but at least we now have an inkling of its true nature. Even so, not every question has been answered. The Radiant told us that even as the Justicias stood before the creature, he seemed to have trouble calling forth the Apex's power at first. My father once said that the Perch of the Apex is much like the wand he used to weave his magics. Of course, the main difference between them is the unique nature of the essence stored within the treasure. I know little of such arcane instruments, but you must be quite familiar with them. How do you use yours? Oh. Okay. Oh my god. Hang on a minute. Is this about to kind of give character to how the Warrior of Light uses acts in each of these roles? That's interesting. I channel ether into it, I perform incantations, I rely on sheer willpower. I mean, I think, like, for the other three of the party, I feel like there'd be more obvious answers here because they're less learned in magic, but Aldine's whole thing is magic, so, like, it would be whatever's appropriate for the situation? Incantations. I mean, yeah, it could be any of these, realistically. Although, probably not sheer willpower, because he is talented enough that he would know what he's doing. He's not just, like, willing it to be. If that makes sense. I'm gonna go with I channel ether into it. I see. Even with the right instrument, spellcasting requires the use of specific techniques. The Justicia seems to lack any such expertise. So, how did he tap into the treasure's power? Good question. I suppose the Perch of the Apex possesses some unique method of activation. When I spoke to the representatives of the other tribes about their treasures, no one mentioned special techniques being required. Not that the relics should have come in common. Not that the relics should have much in common to begin with. Oh, hi? You two, did you see an Ori girl pass through here by yourself? I'm afraid not. What happened? Wait, I recognize you both. The hero of the final days and our recent visitor from Tural. Apologies for the imposition, but may I beg your assistance? It's all that Justicia's fault. The girl said she was off to join that fool's crusade and ran out of Yedlimad before anyone could stop her. Okay. That's not great. Her mother begged us to find her, but if she's following the Justicia, she could be anywhere. You see, he's been sighted at locations scattered all over Thavnir. Can't stand here looking at rocks while a girl is in danger, especially if the Justicia's involved. We have to help. Agreed. Oh, that'd be much appreciated. We're searching places where the Justicia's been spotted before, so perhaps you could start where he hasn't been seen? Oh, good idea. As far as I know, he hasn't been seen at the northern shores. Come on, Aldine. It's a bit of an odd way of putting it without them saying, like, where he had actually been spotted. although I guess they're going on rumors, but like the implication there is kind of the like yeah, the Radiant Host would be in a position to know and kind of coordinate in such a way that they'd already be in position to look for the girl. Yeah, like, and, funnily enough, that actually brings up a thing in the MSQ I thought too. There's a lot of times where I think it relies on suspension, like the game chooses not to explain something in favor of suspension of disbelief in the MSQ, which, now that I'm on the other side of it and having thought about it a bit more, I think it relies on it a little too much, if I'm being honest. And this is one of those things where it's just like, okay, well, so we'll go to Northern Shores, and it's like, well, like, I get that the implication there, but, like, it's kind of weird that we're like, well, he's been seen here, here, and here, we've already got soldiers stationed there, like, we've already got those covered, so we need to look for other places, and that's when Tepeke suggests the Northern Shores. But without hearing it, Tepeke's suggested that anyway, which I guess she'd be familiar with the rumors, but, like, there was nothing really said to do that, or to imply that. Not that she would necessarily share that information. I don't know. And to be fair, this is like really like very small minutia in the writing. It's not like a huge deal, but it is something I'm thinking about a bit more because after someone pointed that out during their MSQ, I haven't been able to unsee it. So I'll start my search right away. Pray hurry to the Northern Shores. Only hope we can find the girl soon. You'll start your search. Okay. I guess just in general, it's a little odd to just go, okay, so let's go to where no one has seen this guy at the Northern Shores, as if that's going to cover it. Like, clearly implying, like, look, we've got most of the island covered, but, like, we could still use more people. And Tepeke goes, well, if you've got all the places he's been sighted covered, like, you know, let's discuss where he hasn't been sighted. And, oh dear. Got him. I had fighting, so I came as fast as I could. It's a good thing you arrived in time to save the girl. Thank you, mister. Thank you. I'm glad you're safe, but your mother must be worried sick. You shouldn't wander off like that, especially not to look for a trickster like the Justicia. What? You mean he's a bad man? Yes, exactly. He stole an important treasure from my village, and now he's using it to make himself look brave. But he needs it to kill the monsters, to protect us. That's no excuse for stealing. He might have fooled you younglings, but the Radiant Hosts know what he's up to. Tepeke? Wind it back a little bit. But he said he'd save us from the monsters. He's our hero. Radiant said said we shouldn't be scared, but we all know the Justicia is the one who keeps us safe. We don't need the Radiants anymore. No hero can save the world alone. I should fucking know. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say bad things about the Radiants. They protected everyone in the final days. I guess I forgot how much they care about us. I'm sorry too. Shouldn't have spoken to you like that after all you've been through. You said that Justicar is a thief and a trickster, but I hope it's not true. He's my hero. Well, I best escort her back to Yedley, man. I'll meet you there later, Aldine. Where did she go? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, it really is in that direction. I don't think I've been to this area of the map too much, so when it pointed back to Yedlimad, the orientation of the objective marker on the compass was like, wait, really? I thought it would have been more out east, but nope. Ugh. The girl and her mother are reunited, and I think we can both give ourselves a pat on the back. They're on their way now to inform the Radiant host that all is well. I would like to apologize for before. I let my emotions get the better of me and harangued that poor girl when when she was hardly to blame for anything. I really should have been scolding myself. Huh? Aldine, there's something I neglected to tell you before. The man who now calls himself the Justicia came to us in the guise of a worldly merchant. He was eager to ask us about the Perch of the Apex and its history, and I was equally eager to tell him, not even considering what he might do with the information. Oh. I'm so proud of my father for being appointed as its guardian. I suppose I was trying to impress the stranger out of sheer vanity. That vanity led to my father being attacked and the treasure being stolen from under our noses. No choice but to make amends for my mistake and bring it back. Yet, some are convinced that the Justicia acts only to serve the greater good. I couldn't accept that he might not be as rotten as I thought and lashed out at the wrong person. From now on, I can't let my emotions cloud my judgment. I must remain calm and look at the facts for what they are. And the facts say that the Justicia has done no harm to the people of Thavnir. Even so, the organization he serves, the Passage of the Unbound, is evil to its very core. If his actions at my village are not villainy, I don't know what is. The situation is fraught with contradictions. I still don't know what to think. What about you, Aldine? Still too many unanswered questions. Even if he hasn't attacked anyone, his actions are stirring unrest. There's still too many unanswered questions. I agree. He speaks of justice and heroism with great bluster, yet there's something we're missing. Thank you, Aldine, for your wise words. I sometimes find it difficult to keep my heart from skewing my perspective, so I'm grateful that you're here to help me see clearly. So it seems our objective is unchanged. We track down the man who stole my people's sacred treasure. Whatever his intentions may be, unraveling them comes secondary to finding the man himself. I'll continue to pour my every effort into the search. Stop by from time to time, and I may have something new to share with you. Yippee! Yep, 94, yep. Tepeke is eager to share new developments in the search for the Justicia. Aldine, I hope you've been well. Since last we spoke, the Justicia has been busy felling fiends all across Thavnir, leaving a trail of witnesses behind in the wake. More than a few have reported seeing stones falling from the sky, which all but confirms our theory that the treasure is causing the phenomenon. Huh? Oh. The stories share one more peculiar commonality. It seems the pests he hunts have all been of the seedkin variety. Why he avoids beasts of flesh and blood is yet a mystery. It bears mentioning that each of these eyewitness accounts came from people who were rescued by the Justicia, who invariably appears just as these creatures attack. In fact, the Justicia has been there to save the day in every single instance of seedkin-related mischief. Awfully suspicious, if you ask me. Not the only one who thinks so. Some among the Radiant hosts have suggested the Justicia is planning these assaults somehow, so he alone can reap the glory from thwarting them. I agree, and think this should be our next avenue of investigation. Alright. Many of these incidents occurred near the Giant Skull grounds, so we should start our search there. If we can find one of these monstrous plants before it finds hapless prey, we may be able to shed light upon the Justicia's methods. Time is of the essence, so let's leave at once. Okay, now we're cooking. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, of the beasts that we've seen in Thavnir, I don't remember seeing a lot of, like, I guess what they call seedkin. Like, the thing we saw in the cutscene, for example, was, seemed to be, like, you know, kind of a fungus-type beast. Which, like, you know, wouldn't surprise me that it exists, that they exist in Thavnir or in, you know, Vanaspati or something like that. But I don't recall seeing them, like, anywhere during my time throughout here. Which is where I'm kind of, like, and, like, I don't know if it's meant to stand out to me as, like, I don't recall seeing monsters like that around here, but now that we've kind of connected, hey, all of these attacks all of these incidents seem to involve a particular kind of beast, seems... I don't know, maybe I did cotton onto something early. Oh, I thought you were just looking out to the right for some reason. Any moving bushes, slithering vines? Not here, in any case. Aldine, I'll search the western path. Why don't you search east? Alright. If you see something, don't strike to kill. Weaken it, then capture it with this rope. We'll learn much more from a live specimen. Oh, glad I don't have to hunt in the rain now. Oh my god, dude. I don't think I've been in Thavnir since the update, but like the way like everything was blue-hued as kind of like the rain was hitting. Or you can see it even there. Just like a lot of atmospheric perspective. I think I'm using that term right. I think I'm remembering the correct term for that. But yeah. Ugh. I've really got to do a round trip of, like, most of the game's stuff to... Well, okay, we've seen stuff like you before. Enemies not weakened? Oh my god. 1 damage. 1 damage. Oh my god. Hopefully it doesn't kill him. It's not weakened? Oh, okay. Usually you have to get it to a low percentage to... Oh, that's... Huh. I don't think... No, maybe it was in the process of despawning. Ooh. Ooh, I don't think Khadgar's got the texture update just yet. That looks a little rough. Crystal looks pretty good, though. See plenty of fauna roaming around, but the floral seems to be of the rooted to the ground variety. But my hunch was incorrect. Nope. Not even an Aurochs could break free from the knots binding this Morbol seedling. I got a seedling. You found one. In fact, this is exactly as an eyewitness described. Why don't you keep it for the time being? Bring it to the Great Work, and I'll ask my acquaintance there to examine it with all haste. You have a lot of acquaintances. Are we gonna talk about that? Like, it's not an important thing, but it would be an interesting character wrinkle if she's just, like, actually, like, yeah, I grew up in Radzathan or, like, I've known about Radzathan, I know people from there, something like that. Okay, also, after going back to Dancer, Man, like, Dance's dash doesn't feel nearly as good compared to Smudge now. I think it's both, like, the length and the movement speed, and something about the animation that's a bit snappier. Mistress Tepeke told me what to expect. Well then, let's see the thing. Here you go. More bowl seedling. Oh, I didn't expect it to be so diminutive. If Mistress Tepeke's intuition is correct, then I expect some interesting discoveries are in store. Is that Athena's hair? Sorry. You brought me quite the fascinating specimen indeed. I can say for certain that this creature's growth isn't natural in the slightest. Biologically, it's still but a sapling, as you can tell by its size. Yet it is a result of a specific alchemical mixture which is used to spur the growth of seeds and mycelium to an unnatural degree. The agents have a side effect of making the creatures more aggressive, which explains why such a small specimen would so boldly attack beings larger than itself. Huh. Yet the solution requires ingredients most rare, and the cost of procuring enough to synthesize it would be beyond the means of most. So whoever is behind this, they are likely well-heeled. Well-heeled? What the fuck does that mean? Well-heeled. Having plenty of money. Can I get, like, a history of that? Dates back to 1871. Okay, must have been just one of those phrases that survived an extremely long time. Huh. Well, there you go. As for the creatures themselves, if they were all grown artificially, perhaps that explains why most of the incidents involved small seedkin. Rather than wait for them to mature naturally, the Justicia must have accelerated their growth so that he could deploy huge numbers over a short span of time. In fact, his plan likely requires they be small, weak foes in order to guarantee his victory. After all, the great Justicia can hardly be expected to bear the blemish of defeat. With these new details brought to light, it's almost certain he's staging these attacks on the common folk. Now we have a new perspective to guide our search. Perhaps you should return to Yedlimad. I hear the Justicia is the talk of the village. They doubtless have stories to share. Splendid idea. Thank you. Your findings have brought us a step closer to unmasking that villain. I gotta say, like, let's hurry to Yedlimad. The more accounts we have of the Justicia, the better our chances of predicting his next move. Yeah, I gotta say, Tepeke is like... There's a lot of situations in which, like, we're helping people in, like, a foreign land and stuff like that, and the point has usually been that this person, you know, is a bit out of their depth and, you know, requires a lot of help to kind of, like, understand people and whatnot. But Tepeke is, like, one of the few people we've seen in these situations just kind of, like, adapt so well. Like, I'm curious if she actually does have a connection here, or if she is just, like, implied to be that resourceful, that, like, in the downtime, rather than just like, oh yeah, I asked around and I don't really have much more info, like, has literally gone around Thavnir and Radzathan and actually made friends with people, and then she's like, oh, okay, we need an alchemist. So I know one at the Great Work that could help us, but, you know, for the concoction, that might not be a good option. So I'm going to go to the High Crucible, which I've heard also has like, a lot of alchemists there that might be able to help us. Like, she seems to have, like, hit the ground running in terms of, like, understanding this place, which is kind of impressive. Or at least compared to, most situations we're in with characters that are learning this stuff for the first time. Like, if she is, in fact, that just, like... If this never comes up and she's just that resourceful, that's kind of cool. But I'd be curious to hear if there is actually anything to that. Rest assured, the Radiant hosts are well aware of the Justicia. Every day we receive more reports of him combating beasts in the surrounding wilderness. These encounters are never on well-traveled roads, it seems. They occur in remote regions that we scarcely patrol, long routes that are only used by a small number of merchants and porters. We've concluded that the Justicia either has uncommon knowledge of the behavioral patterns of these creatures, or that he keeps close company with a merchant who travels those obscure paths. Enthused youth. Oh, you're hungry to learn more about the Justicia? He's amazing! I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of him on the road leading here, facing down a fearsome creature. I don't know what he did. I don't know how he did it, but he called down rocks from the sky to knock that thing flat. Radiant hosts were away on patrol, so if he hadn't come to our rescue, that brute would have marched right into our homes. He shouted that he was the savior of Brazathan, and even waved at me. Oh, he looked so impressive with the sun shining behind him. Watchful man. Oh, don't tell me you've come chasing that half-baked savior. The younglings might be taken in by his honeyed words, but anyone with experience can see that he's nothing but a charlatan, and I have a story to prove it. A merchant I know took a tumble as he was transporting his goods. Not long after comes the Justicia, looking chivalrous as you please in his shining armor. But did he offer a helping hand? No! He ran off with nary a glance backwards. He may go on about slaying beasts, but a real hero would never ignore someone in need, even if they were just suffering from scraped knees and a bruised ego. Yeah, that's a good point. If that is in fact true, he hasn't really given a shit about, saving people so much as, hey? Hi? Can we help you? Aldine, do you have a moment? I'm having a little trouble here. I sought this merchant out because I was told he dealt with the alchemists in the Great Work. I thought he might know something about the Justicia, but when I asked, he's been like this ever since. Apologies, I was just surprised that you would ask me about that madman. What connection could he possibly have with me? The fiends he fights are grown with rare alchemical materials, and we think he may be staging these encounters. Since you deal in such wares, I wonder if you might know how he came into their possession. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I've never spoken to that man. I very much doubt that. Perhaps he'll be more receptive to questioning from you. Perhaps he'll be more perceptive to questioning from you, Aldine. He seems to have intimate knowledge of trade routes and alchemy. Who taught him, I wonder? Come now. Any merchant with a nose for profit has good relations with the alchemists. By your way of thinking, any one of us could be in league with Virazan. Virazan, you said? Who is that, may I ask? Huh? What? Did I... No, that's my name. You're really bad at this, dude. I'd be a fool to continue with this charade any longer. My son, Virazan, is the one you know as the Justicia. To be suddenly confronted with his litany of misdeeds, I quite lost my composure. Oh, good. You're his father? Then, do you know how he came into possession of such rare materials and knowledge? Aye, he stole them from me. My most valuable materials and my precious maps. Yet I was the one who chose to hide that fact. I bear the blame for the consequences. What can you tell us about him as a person? Virazan was obsessed with tales of legendary heroes, even from a young age. Paid a great deal of money to have him tutored in the art of the bow. He became quite skilled at it, in fact, but not quite as skilled as his arrogance led him to believe. Due to this, and perhaps a lack of ambition, he never aspired to true greatness. Instead, he came to rely upon fanciful equipment and exotic potions, rather than honing what skill he had. It pained me to see him fall into dissoluteness, but he would brook no counsel. So several years ago, I gave him enough coin to support his lavish lifestyle and told him to never speak with me again. He didn't. Until but recently, when he darkened my doorstep once more. And that was when he stole your goods? Aye. Although I would have willingly given them if he had but asked. He was rambling most incoherently, saying that his heroic deeds as a justiciar had caught the eye of someone named Apyahi, leader of the Passage of the Unbound, whoever they are. He claimed that under the guidance of his newfound allies, he had obtained a great power. Power enough to eclipse old heroes and who have come before and shall after, as he put it. Seems he gives what money he still has to these people. To think that for all of his fanciful words, he was only deigned to grasp at hollow glory, all at the expense of Razatan. There's no greater shame as a father. Given what we know of this shadowy group, they most likely aim to sow discontent through Virazan's deeds. He may be so blinded by his own desire for adoration that he can't see whose hands are pulling his strings. You're saying that he's being used? If that's true, then I can no longer remain silent, despite what shame it may bring. I see now that sharing my story might be the only way to save my son. Indeed. I suggest you tell the Radiant Host at once. Of course, we'll be pouring out every effort into stopping him. Thank you for giving me direction. Didn't imagine our meeting would end this way. Truth be told, I'm not entirely unsympathetic towards Virazan. I blasted my father's reflected glory while having none of my own to speak of. Glory Virazan seeks is similarly false. I, too, shall visit the Radiant Host and have them spread word of the Justiciar's true nature. If the people are wise to his trickery, they will be far more likely to aid us. He'll soon learn that a legend built on lies is no match for true heroism. Hell yeah. I feel like we've been flying through these, but realistically we're only on 96, and we've still got like 96, 98, 90, so 3 left. Yeah, we're about halfway through. I won't take a break just yet. I think, what would I want to do next? Probably do the heal one after this, if we have the time. I want to try and make it, like, full chunks, so I'm not dividing them up if possible, but, yeah, we'll see. Tepeke appears pleased with the blow dealt to the Justiciar's credibility. Greetings, Aldine. Virazan's father has been as good as his word and has confessed the truth of his son's actions to whomever will listen. Even among the younglings, far fewer sing the Justiciar's praise. The tide is turning in our favor at last, and the Radiant Host are making ready to tighten the net. Speaking of which, they had curious news to share. They've been examining the stones left behind by the Justiciar and noticed a pattern. They're all varieties of rock commonly found near the site of each encounter. For instance, near the Giant Gull's grounds, the Justiciar seems to have called down a hail of what else but Giant Skull. I have my own theories about what this means, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, Aldine. Well, I mean, it's safe to say the artifact doesn't create rocks from nothing. Indeed. A perch of the apex likely lifts whatever stones are nearby and brings them crashing down to Earth. If our suspicions are correct, we're one step closer to unraveling its mysteries. But despite these favorable developments, Justicia's popularity remains a problem. Even with the recent blow to his credibility, his most ardent followers still idolize him. In fact, I hear he's handing out letters to the youth of Razat Han, though their contents are a closely guarded secret. All the more reason to investigate, don't you think? Once we get to Razat Han, if I question people around the marketplace, could you cover the city's western quarter? That's where his younger followers tend to gather. After we've collected enough information, let's share our findings. See you again, Razat Han, Aldine. I will say, I like the pace at which this is going. Tepeke definitely seems like... How do I want to phrase this? Like, she does have character, but it doesn't really, like, come out much. Like, the kind of thing we got before, where it was talking about, kind of, like, living in her father, or, you know, reflected glory from her father and stuff like that, and being kind of vain about it. Like, that's definitely something. But, like, she's shown herself to be incredibly resourceful, and we haven't really, like, taken a lens to that just yet. Like, it's just kind of, she has been that way. And, like, I'm torn on whether the story should actually, like, acknowledge that more than just, oh, yeah, it's, you know, it's, what's going on here? Yeah, she's just, like, that resourceful. But, like, I would appreciate the Warrior of Light even going, like, you seem to know, like, a lot of people around here every single time we come here. And she's just like, well, yeah, I like working with people, and that can show a thing about like wanting to protect people and stuff like that, thus like taking pride in her protecting her and her father protecting the relic for so long, or the apex rather, for so long. Like, I don't know, there's something missing here that I can't quite put into words. The Justicia gave me that invitation himself, only for some thief to snatch it right out of my hand. Huh? You believe in the Justicia too? Well, I didn't have a chance to read the whole letter before it was stolen, but he's gathering his most devout for a special audience. The bastard who stole my invitation is clearly up to no good. He even muttered something about getting revenge. But who could hate someone so noble? Ooh. Hello. I will say though, like, I like this quest so far. I like it a lot. Tepeke is just like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing that, like, kind of the character is spread across multiple people. Like, I don't think the point is to examine Tepeke as a character necessarily, but there's definitely been one or two points where it tries to do that, and it's felt a bit soon? If that makes sense? Like, it's kind of like, it has one line that does the thing, and then, you know, she goes into a thing. Not necessarily bad, it's just, I don't know. Like, you need proper setup for a payoff, and you don't necessarily need something lengthy or, you know, happens over multiple quests to actually get the payoff. But it does feel very, like, immediate and not fleshed out. That's not the phrasing I want to use, but, like, yeah, I don't know. Something about it's just like it feels like we're being kind of shunted through what would have been what is a faster paced quest. And for the events unfolding, I'm glad about that. But for like talking about the characters that are in it, it might be a bit much. Yeah, I know about the letters. Me and my friends didn't get one though. Grown-ups get angry if we talk about the Justicia. But guess what? I heard Zashal talking about him over by Merid's Mayhane. Fuck, hang on. I keep mispronouncing this word every time it comes up, and I need to hear it again.
Mayhane.
Mayhane.
Mehane.
Okay, that's just text-to-speech. That's not necessarily going to be true.
Meyhane.
Mehane. So... Meride? Or Merides? Merides Mehane? Talking a lot about, like, you know, making sure I was pronouncing things correctly in Dawn Trail, I realized, like, I hadn't done that same, or I had, slacked off on doing it in Endwalker. But at least once I knew I was pronouncing things incorrectly. He had a big grin on his face, too. Does that mean the Justicia isn't a bad man like the grown-ups say? I don't know about that. Damn. I was good. For a second, I thought I was gonna say surly you. Oh, you're the one who's always following that Tepeke around. She's spreading rumors about this city's savior. I won't let her harm his reputation any more than she already has, so I've nothing to say to her lapdog. The most useful clue points to the merchant Zashal having some connection to Virazan. He was last seen near Merides Mehane. What the fuck is going on here? What are you looking at? This ain't none of your business. Please give me back the ring. I don't think I've ever noticed them before. Granted, I haven't been around this area in a while, so... Kinda makes sense. Oh, here we go. You! It's true what they say. Fool and his gill are soon parted. Huh? Why, if it isn't one of the heroes of the final days? This isn't about that map I sold to your companion, is it? Yeah, I knew it was him. You'll find it points to the points the way to the vaults of Alzadol III, exactly as described. I may have employed a few creative methods to entice my customers, but what merchant doesn't? Not hear about the map. You're not? Of course. Why would you be? Well, what can I do for one of our vaunted heroes? You're after the Justicia. Your choice of quarry is unusual, to say the least. But perhaps I can help you along, eh? A young man came asking for a map to open the way to Uznir. I sold him every map I had, assuring him that the one he needed was among them. I suppose he found it, as I hear these letters that were handed out contain a copy of a map. I dare say that young fellow was the Justicia himself, and he's planning a clandestine meeting in the Uznir canals. Mind you, it appears he has no shortage of enemies. No doubt they'll try to interfere. Oh? Thankfully, Radzat Han isn't known for large-scale criminal organizations, but that hasn't kept the less scrupulous citizens from dirtying their hands when times are desperate. From what I hear, bandits seeking to rob trade caravans keep running into the Justicia during his fiend-felling exploits, causing their raids to end in failure. Like as not, they'll try to infiltrate his group of followers and settle the score. And that's where my knowledge of that matter ends. If you're wondering where the meeting place is, all I remember is that the spot marked on the copied map is somewhere in the Shroud of the Sungar. So, does that answer your queries? It sure does. Thanks, bud. That is a great character to bring back. Just to have, like, a little spiel. Like, oh yeah, this guy. You know, the guy that was swindling Estinian out of a map? Yeah, somehow managed to end up, mixed up with the fucking Justicia. Who would have guessed? Hi, Emilio. It's so wonderful to see Town's people finally casting off the darkness that overwhelming sorrow. Of course, none will ever forget that which we suffered through. But at least while our citizens are here, dining on our food, drinking our drinks, they can, for a moment, recall better days and maybe even find hope in tomorrow. You the best. Okay. Oh. Huh? No, I want... Okay, there we go. Once you've been approved by the House of Splendors. Oh, okay. Those in the support of the Justicia didn't seem surprised when I told them of his misdeeds, but still they were reluctant to betray him. In short, I've had no luck. What about you, Aldine? Well, mind the fat cat. Your investigative abilities never cease to amaze me. As for this gathering Verizon is planning, I expect it's some scheme to prop up his flagging popularity. Even so, many of his devotees are younglings ill-equipped to make the perilous journey to the meeting place. If they have any sense, rather than attempt to travel there directly, they'll stop at settlements along the way to rest and confirm the route. You said the map led into the Shroud of Samgar, yes? That means Palika's Stand is the closest settlement. I hear many took refuge there during the final days, and it's now a bustling town in its own right. The arrival of more people would hardly raise eyebrows, making it the perfect place to avoid unwanted tension while they make ready. We should head there before they leave on the final leg of their journey. Yeah, again, it's just like really intricate kind of knowledge of the land she's in. Like, I like it as a background element. I kind of wish we actually, like, drew attention to it a bit more and just said, hey, you've adapted to this pretty well. And it's just like, well, yeah, I mean, have to kind of get to know culture, etc., etc. I was right, Aldine. Many of the youths are carrying pieces of parchment. Those must be the letters. It seems my reputation has preceded me. Suspected followers clearly avoid me whenever I try to approach them. Still, we can use this to our advantage. None of them would dare leave Palika's Stand while there's risk I might follow after. I'll keep watch over their comings and goings, but we'll make sure to leave obvious blind spots. If one of the Justicia's followers attempts to escape the village, I need you to go after them. Now, find a vantage point that affords a good view while keeping you hidden. Once you've started pursuing our unwitting target, I won't be far behind. And I like this. I like that little bit. I like that little bit as well. Where. What? Oh. Okay. So, like, again, unspoken things happening in both directions. It's not just to Tepeke's benefit. There are also people, or the Justicia's reputation and how quickly that is spreading is also working against us. Rather than just having it be, oh yeah, the... Oh my god, words. You know, these things that are happening, that aren't really acknowledged, are only ever benefiting Tepeke. But in this instance, it's like, no, a lot of people know about the Justicia's reputation, and that is advanced to the point that people know about people who are talking shit about the Justicia, and they would then begin to avoid, or they would begin to make sure they're not, I guess, avoiding the haters. Fuck it. I couldn't think of a better way to put that. Bro, come on, you can see me. Awful. And now we got another tailing mission, I presume. Yep. Going to the font? Oh, Jesus. Fucking, gorilla behind me took a step and it just boomed a lot louder than I was expecting. Oh. Yeah, okay. I did it! Oh, shit. I forgot to do a thing. There we go. Portal should be nearby, and then I'll finally meet him. The portal? You. What? You're the hero who saved us in the final days. What are you doing here? See, working alongside that woman I saw at the village. I've heard about the rumors she's spreading, but I have no idea she enlisted your aid. Justicia saved me, you see. I was transporting goods for a local merchant who was too miserly to even hire a proper escort. A ferocious creature ambushed me, but my savior appeared from nowhere and saw off the beast. I owe him my life. That's why I came here, to see if there's any truth to the rumors. Now I understand I'm in over my head. I'm going back home. Here, you can have the map. I trust you to take the measure of the Justicia and to share the truth with us all. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. Apologies for watching from the shadows, but I was afraid my presence might have startled the lad. I was able to hear what he said, though, and his gratitude towards the Justicia seemed genuine. Dare say the other followers feel similarly. Well, now that we have a map of our own, let's open the portal and confront Verizon. Yes, surely this won't be a trap. What the fuck? Where are we? Is this part of the treasure map dungeon, I wonder? What a sight. Did the treasure cause this? I don't recognize this area, is the thing. Oh my! If it isn't the hero who saved Radzathan, nay, the world itself. I never expected someone so vaunted to attend my audience, but I am honored nonetheless. Enough of your games, Virazan. Stop this madness at once. After giving you such a warm welcome, these are the thanks I get. While 'tis true that I was once known by that name, 'twas merely a guise I wore until I discovered my true self. So long as I am the masked hero of Radzathan, I shall not suffer any to call me Virazan. But that is your name, isn't it? Heroes should take pride in their name. The game is up. We're exposing your true identity. Why don't you drop the act and try being a true hero? Yeah. A true hero, you say? Indeed. Perhaps casting aside this mask is the price I must pay for the adoration I am due. Hey, Charles. How's it going? Not looking. Okay. Very well. My name shall ring throughout Radzathan. Let it be known that the Justicia is Virazan, and Virazan is the Justicia. What are you saying? You unleashed the perch of the apex upon your own followers. You know its name? Wait, I remember you. The girl from Tural, yes? Your village's artifact is not discriminating in its wrath. Some among my followers harbored wicked intentions, and it brought sorrow unto my enemies. The true of heart caught in the aftermath were merely unfortunate. Huh? But they believed in you, even though you tricked them. What kind of hero are you? You too would oppose me. I had thought that as fellow saviors, we might find some common ground. Yet it would seem we are destined to walk different paths. Now, faced with unknown peril, a great fervor rages within me. Hang on a second, I need to reread something here. Your village's artifact is not discriminating in its wrath. Some among my followers harbored wicked intentions that have brought sorrow unto my enemies. The true of heart caught in the aftermath were merely unfortunate. But she asked before that, what are you saying? You unleashed the perch of the apex upon your followers? But... I mean, okay, I think this might be falling apart a little bit, because, like, Tepeke is taking issue with how indiscriminate the Apex has been. But, that hasn't really been the thing we've been focusing on, if that makes sense. Like, we've been far more focused on, what do you call it? We've been far more focused on the, like, lies and the, like, duplicity he's been exhibiting. Like, the thing I would have expected to come out here is you are a fraud. You've been growing, growing enemies to throw upon people for you to vanquish. But now she's taking issue with the bit where, like, it's indiscriminate, but she points that out before he talks about it. But that's not the, like, that hasn't been the problem. The problem is that he's been a fraud. But now we're taking the thing of, like, hey, like, it feels like we jumped somewhere here. It's actually really strange, because we haven't talked about him being a fraud. That he's that he's orchestrating these attacks. We're saying, hey, your power is indiscriminate. Like, but those two things aren't the same. Like, his power being indiscriminate doesn't mean that he has to be duplicitous. And pointing out that it's indiscriminate is not critiquing the thing we were looking at before? Yeah, it's super weird. Like, it feels like what actually should have happened... It feels like we missed a scene where Tepeke and Tepeke and the Warrior of Light confront him, and upon being called a fraud, he demonstrates his power, and then they're like, dude, what are you doing? You're literally hurting the people around you, and that's when this discussion happens. But we just kind of skipped ahead to the bit where his power is indiscriminate. However, here is not where we shall match wits. No, a more fitting battleground is in order. We will meet again soon, you have my word. Ah, shut up! Ah! Wait, what? Okay, I'm gonna let this play out, because this is really confusing now. So, can you tell us what happened here? He gathered us all around and made a grand speech. Claimed he was the hero that would drive back the flood of fiends threatening Thavnir. Then he spoke of his anger at the recent rumors. He told us to go forth and repair his damaged reputation so that people would love him again. He became quite impassioned, in fact. As for us two, we were here to teach him a lesson, biding our time until his back was turned. But we couldn't stomach his self-righteous drivel any longer. He acts like he's a god come to grace Thavnir, but most people have grown wise to his tricks, including the Radiant Host. We stepped forward and told him as much, then demanded that he admit he's been pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. That's when he started waving that thing around. We soon learned that the rumors of its powers were true, and rocks started falling down around us. Even us true believers were not spared. There was nowhere to run. The Justicia said such power cannot be fettered, and that sacrifices are unavoidable. And all the while, he was laughing. We pleaded with him for mercy, but that just made him angrier. He flourished the object again, and yet more rocks assailed us. No, okay, no, hold on, wait, stop. Oh my god, so before we got there, this whole thing with the deception had transpired. And then we start talking to him in the aftermath, because he's clearly hurt the people around him. And we start talking like we already knew the subject of him being a fraud came up. And in the order we saw it, Tepeke starts critiquing him for hurting those around him, even though we didn't see that literally happen. Which, you know, if we entered the room and he's just waving the thing around and hurting his followers, because we know his followers are in there, then it's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? But none of the scene up until that point reads that way. Well, I mean, I guess it does, but like, it's like, hang on, I need to go through the fucking speech again. That's a furtive youth. What a sight did the treasure cause this, sure. Isn't the heroes enough of your games? Stop this madness at once. Okay, so he's clearly evoked the power. But, like, so long as I am the master hero, Han is your name, isn't it? And then he goes on about, oh, this is the price I must pay to be a true hero. He's saying, what are you saying? You unleashed, Perch of the Apex upon your own followers. Which, like, I guess we could infer, but, like... Oh, man, this is so backwards. What, and, like, if we were going to see... I guess, you know, maybe they didn't have the budget allocated to actually do this, so they had to construct the scene this way, but, like, it would have been much better to walk into the portal room and have those two confronting him, like, calling him out on his bullshit, and then he waves it around, and that's when we step forward going, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, the power isn't even hurting the people threatening you, they're hurting everyone else in the room as well. And he's like, well, yeah, like, that doesn't matter, I'm a true hero, blah, 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 and we call, you know, that's when the warrior, like, calls him out for being, you know, you're hiding behind a mask, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's where, up until that point, the, power he's thrown around, between the power he threw around in front of us and the speech he's saying, where Tepeke goes, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You are hurting your own people. Oh yeah, I don't know. Something about this entire scene is just, like, completely backwards. Because, like, yeah, it does seem to be implied that he's evoked the power and the stones fell to the floor and whatnot. But then, it doesn't... Like, the discussion we have presumes that we're not talking about him being a fraud, but that only makes sense... okay, if I'm to guess what's happening, what the problem that's happening here, the writer knows the sequence of events that's happening in this scene, like, in terms of a in-world timeline, and writes Tepeke like she witnessed that thing coming up before. Because at no point does she call him a fraud or anything like that. She's just like, the power is hurting people, and obviously that's a big deal. But, like, I would presume we'd come in there trying to convince people and also call him out on his bullshit. But the writer knows that that's already happened in those sequence of events, and we drop in after that, so all of the discussion that happens after that point has nothing to do with him being a fraud, but when you enter there, the player is thinking that we're going to call him out on his bullshit, and we see the rocks around him, and we only ever talk about the Apex to find out later on that someone actually critiqued it. I don't know, there's something really strange about the order of events here that I'm not a fan of. It's super strange. It was horrible. Stones big and small raining down endlessly. Until you two appeared, that is. Thank you for telling us what happened. Only wish we could have arrived sooner. Yeah, then maybe the scene would have actually made sense the way it played out. Now, just to set things straight, it was you two who brandished your weapons first, yes? Well, won't deny that, but we were only trying to bring the truth of his misdeeds to light. Though we might have had some personal scores to settle on top of that. Before I left Palika's stand, I asked the Radiant host there to look out for anyone returning from the wilderness. I suggest you head there and seek their aid. While you're there, share with them what you told us. And as for the pair of you, don't even think about running away, or you'll have us to deal with. Wait, why are we taking... Wait a minute. Is Tepeke really taking issue with someone pulling a knife on the Justiciar? Is that what's happening here? Why are we happy about that? Oh my... Okay, no... I think the caster role quest might not be good after all. Oh my god, that's so weird. And, like, yeah, no, Listen, okay, like, you know, we gotta turn you into the cops because, you know, you are criminals that got slighted by this guy. I don't care if you got slighted by this guy, you're still criminals. It's like, okay, sure, but, like, we're all kind of aligned in that this guy is full of shit, and it might be worth, like, showing a bit of sympathy, like, yeah, okay, we get it, this guy's been kind of causing shit for all of you, but, like, at least listen, just don't try anything. Let's sort this shit out, and then you can, you know, we'll forget this fucking happened. But, like, her being very pointed and like, so you drew weapons on him first, being the lead-in to that? Yeah, no, now that scene is played out, a lot of other things earlier on in this quest have kind of, like, I'm looking at them in a different light. Because it feels like, how do I put this? It feels like we're making some jumps in sort of the events that are happening. And for some of them, I can play them off as like, oh, Tepeke is really resourceful. Things like that. But the way that just played out makes me think that this story makes me think that someone had thought this story up in a way that they could make a bit longer and a bit meatier, but had to cut it down. So there's things here and there where you're, like, jumping ahead of, like, oh, well, actually, Tepeke knows people she needs to know for the quest to proceed. There's other things where, like, really small parts of conversations will move past certain topics faster than it probably would have otherwise. And that's kind of like, and this quest is like the kind of like ultimate result of that, where they're just like, we cut past half of the scene to do that part justice, but then have the bit before it be the kind of actual pointed thing we'd been focusing on up until that point. But it happens off-screen because the latter part is the thing that probably needs to be animated more. But then we still bookend it with this, like, trite, like, oh, shouldn't have pulled a knife on him kind of thing. The dude is terrorizing people. Like, I don't know. It's something really off about the way this is playing out that I do not vibe with. It seems a little messy, honestly, and, like, I've talked before at length about, like, role and job quest length and stuff like that, and, you know, you're working to a budget, and, it's understandable that, like, at some point it might be like, oh, we overestimated the work that was going to go into this, and so we have to kind of shift it around. Like, the fact, like, obviously Tepeke is going to focus on, like, you know, the apex, because that's the really important thing here. But, like, you'd think that going into there, like, yeah, I think the thing I want to settle on here is that purely from the storytelling perspective, it's very jarring to play that scene out the way it was. I don't want to say that it's, like, invalid completely, but like, even just a slight line for Tepeke of, like, okay, fuck the fact that you're, you know, a fraud. Like, you are hurting people here. Like, I can talk all day about, you know, yeah, pointing out that Tepeke is putting aside that criticism, or, like, you know, that's out of the picture now, you're just hurting people, like, who gives a shit about the fraudster shit now? Like, actually saying that in the writing, rather than just, like, moving on with the presumption that, like, we're not gonna focus on that, when that's been the whole point. Like, up until this point, we've been talking about his reputation and what he's actually doing to get favor with people. And then when we enter the scene, we're talking about the danger of the power, which is just not something we'd focused on until that point. And, like, it's weird because you're expecting a payoff. Like, the player is expecting a payoff more for the things we'd focused on before we get to the power part of it. But we skip that and have a character do that off-screen to push forward the power angle and the misuse of it, which obviously is the bigger problem here. Like, okay, he's being a bit of a fraud, sure, but then he's also using this power that is, by his own admission, indiscriminate. And yeah, it's like, yeah, like, I think it's just a setup and payoff problem, because, like, they set up, we focus on the fraud angle as setup, and when we go to confront him, it feels like we just get more setup rather than an actual payoff, where, like, we actually confront him and then he starts talking shit. But that happens off screen, and we get filled in about that, like, after the fact? I don't know, it's just a really weird way of doing it. Like, why not play out the scene with the Warrior of Light and Tepeke, from the Warrior of Light and Tepeke's perspective, seeing everything? Like, why jump halfway through into it just to have this, like, change in topic so quickly? Yeah, you know, not that there isn't something to the jarring aspect of it, but you'd think, like, you know, okay, we're going to confront him about the fraud. Like, if you were going to do this where the whole point is that this has escalated far faster than either of you were predicting, I would have thought that, like, you know, you enter the room and you're hearing the sound, and both you and Tepeke are like, okay, fuck whatever we were going to confront him about. We need to stop him before he brings down the cave or something like that. But, like, we enter a completely static scene that takes a lot of time to look around what's happening, and it doesn't ratchet up the tension and set you up for a complete shift in topic. It's just like, oh, what happened here? And then we just chide him about the power, but, like, the last 2 or 3 quests have been focusing on the fraud angle. Whereas, if you enter that scene and things are already going to shit, like, and someone, even the Warrior of Light as an answer just says, like, fuck the fraud angle, you are hurting people now. Like, it's one thing to portray yourself as a hero by being kind of cheeky about it. This is hurting people. What the fuck are you doing? Like, an active dismissal of whatever we were coming into this scene with would have felt good, or would have fit this a lot better, and having a sudden rise in action and energy in the scene would have aided that a lot. But no, we enter an entirely static scene, and then Yeah, we enter an entirely static scene to then, like, hard shift over to a different perspective that is set up for later that doesn't pay off what happened before. Because we don't get to see him crack under the, accusations of being a fraud until after the entire scene has played out with him. I have to imagine... I have to imagine that something about, like, the time or budget for this job quest meant that they had to cut that. And they had to cut half of the scene, keep the half that was important about the setup for later on, that they can explain in, like, you know, still images instead afterward, rather than animating all of that. I have to imagine that's the problem here. Because if this was intentional, then it's not good. And I'd sooner believe that, like, this was, like, a bit more ambitious than it should have been, and there were places that needed to be cut, and guess what? Animation, in cutscene animation is probably one of the more expensive parts of this entire thing. So yeah. Just... ooh. Really weird scene, front to back. Everyone has returned to the care of the Radiant Host. As for those ruffians who meant to attack Virazan, it seems they had a history of violence for which they may soon answer. Several among Virazan's followers were dealt serious wounds, but we can be grateful that none lost their lives. It's exactly as the old saying describes. The Master of the Apex shall be showered with good fortune, yet leave only sorrow in their wake. The part about sorrow certainly seems true, at least. We can but hope that Virazan's spell over the people will be broken at last when word of what transpired here becomes common knowledge. Let that buoy our spirits as we return to Yedlimud. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a... it's just very rocky. Yeah, I mean, and, like, listen, I can talk about, like, speculation about, like, why it is the case, and I feel like I've got a pretty strong intuition when it comes to that, having, you know, like, watched the game industry for a long time, wanted to get into it originally, thought about writing and stuff like that a lot. Like, I'm not going to say, like, I'm 100% correct, but I could at least theorize some scenarios that make this make sense, where, like, there was a more coherent way that played out, but for time constraints or budget constraints or anything like that, it had to be cut, and the way it got cut, honestly, doesn't do it justice, but, like, makes sense from that perspective, because, yeah, how could it? Yeah, it's not great. Not great. But we'll see how the rest of it plays out. Also, I just want to point out, I feel like it's really unnecessary to point out the ruffian angle or like, I don't know. I feel if, like, that was more of a hand-wavy thing, I'd actually like it more. Because focusing on it as, like, don't worry, those people are gonna, receive justice is, like... I mean, yeah, okay. I feel like here it would be more of a point to be like, okay, hey. I get what you're doing. Leave that to us, and we can just forget this ever happened. Okay? Like... this guy's, like, making life shit for everyone. We'll resolve that, and in return, just stay the fuck out of this. I like, some, a bit more magnanimity... hang on. Magnanimous.
Magnanimity.
Yeah. A little bit more generosity. Of just like, okay, listen. Appreciate you trying to confront him. Clearly that didn't work. Just let us do that. Like, just, like, a sidebar with, like, working closely with the Radiant Host and then being like, hey, look, criminals, Radiant Host, you should come get these guys. It's kind of like... okay? Sure? Like, it unfortunately reads as very, like, simpy to cops and that, where it's like, you were trying to stop this person that is hurting other people from hurting other people, including yourself for selfish reasons. But you are a criminal, so you have to go to jail. It's like, do we really need to write it like that? Like, maybe we could take that as an opportunity to be like, oh man, he is fucking up everyone. Right? Because we knew about the raids coming into it. But the thing is that, like, that's not treated as... And you don't have to be sympathetic to like, people who would raid caravans in that instance. I think it's just more an indication of, like, yeah, this guy is actually fucking everything up. And we could at least be like, listen, don't. We'll come for you if you do that again. This is a warning at the very least, but I appreciate you were trying to get this guy out of the way. For whatever reason. Like, I feel like something to just be like, a nod of like, yeah, we're all getting fucked by this would have been nice. Whereas it's just like, so you tried to aggravate him, and it's like very fucking condescending in that way. I don't know, I don't... And the scene had already baffled me, so I guess I was set up to think negatively of that interaction, but like, I generally don't like that kind of shit. The fucking Warrior of Light's worked with literal pirates before. I mean... Yeah, and it's just a thing they included in there that I feel like is going to go unexamined, other than the fact that why did you let the criminals go? Which, like, I don't know. That's not the point of this, and if that's not the point of this, why did you include it? Like, we could have just known that, yeah, raiders were involved, and then, like, oh, yeah. Like, or, even better, yeah, we don't actually know who there might have been there to raid them, because, or to threaten the Justicia, because, like, they were meant to be infiltrating and not easily identifiable. So you could say, like, yeah, they're getting cared, they're getting looked after. We don't know if the agitators in this circumstance were raiders or not, but it doesn't matter. But no, we had to go out of our way to be like, oh, you raiders. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. Well, that was, that was certainly an ordeal. Although Virazan got away, we can look back upon what transpired to plan our next course of action. It appears that the treasure takes rocks from the surrounding environment and makes them rain down upon the wielder's surroundings. However, the power seems to be somewhat haphazard. While Virazan himself wasn't struck, the boulders assailed friend and foe alike. Something else has been nagging at me as well. The stones we saw in the canals seemed quite a bit larger than the others. I don't know what to make of it, but I'll give it some thought. We still don't know exactly how he controls the Apex's abilities either. We must focus on these mysteries as we continue our investigation. As for Virazan himself, he was just as his father said, wasn't he? So-called heroism is an empty charade, like a child playing at being a hero from their storybooks. He seems motivated by a vain desire to gain the love of the people, yet he cares nothing for their well-being. He'll learn his lesson soon enough, though. None will sing his praises after word of what happened at Uznair. I'm gonna look this up. Is this noted anywhere in 14? Because I feel like I've never seen that. Seen that before. The Lost Canals of Uznair, released in patch 4.05 of Stormblood. Huh. Is that right? It doesn't seem like we've got any description of it. Yeah, it's just like, hey, here it is. Huh. So that's in Thavnir? Or... Oh, although I guess we took a portal to it, right? So it's, It's either around there. It's either around Thavnir or, like, yeah, it's somewhere else and is highly connected other places. That's interesting. I've never heard the name brought up before. Again, like you know, I'll criticize the writing here and there because I don't think it was particularly great at kind of, like, really working with the scenario they created. But, like, with, Zashal? Was that his name? The merchant who sold the map to Stinian, and then just, hey, here's this place you might have seen from a treasure map before. That's where he is. Like, it's just neat reuse of things. I just wish I knew a little bit more about it. I worry that his desperation will drive him to worse misdeeds. If the treasure is used with reckless abandon, it could cause untold harm. I must discuss this with the Radiant Host. Together we might be able to capture Virazan before he attempts anything drastic. Stand by for now, Aldine. I'll be in touch the moment I have something to share. Again, just, like, weird framing of the Warrior of Light here. Not that it's, like, you know, completely, not that it's, like, a bad shot. It's just, like, I don't think I've seen judicious use of that kind of angle before. Yeah. Yeah, I should have taken a break a while ago, but I thought we might have actually zoomed through this, but now that I've spoken for a shitload of time, I should probably take a break before we move on. We're probably only going to do the caster quest today, then, the way this is playing out. But at least I kind of have an idea of, how long they're going to be and how long they can take if I'm gonna yap for ages. So, I will quickly take a break, get some water, and when we come back, we will finish this baby off. I'm back. Alright. Sun's out today. So yeah, I definitely think we're gonna finish up this quest and then be done for the day. Honestly, it's kind of a blessing that I actually woke up later than I did, because I feel like I feel compelled to do a second lot of these and miss out on a sunny day. So, yeah, there you go. Okay. Behind the helm. Tepeke wishes to share the contents of a recent delivery with you. Seems Virazan has been laying low since our... Oh, wait, no. She's from Tural, isn't she? I should be giving her an American accent. Okay. Seems Virazan has been... Oh, no, that's not it. Virazan's been laying low. Yeah. It's been laying low since our last encounter. I'm sad to say, however, that my investigations have uncovered little. But still, there's cause to celebrate, for I've received a letter from my mother with good tidings. My father has finally awakened after the grievous wound dealt to him by Virazan. He's well enough to travel to Tural, in fact, and may have already arrived. Oh, neat. Of course, I'd love nothing more than to go to him, but I pledged not to return until I had the perch of the Apex in hand. Besides, I'm soon to depart with the Radiant Host to try and sniff out Virazan's whereabouts before he acts out of desperation. That's why I asked that you go in my stead. As the treasure's guardian, no one living is more knowledgeable about its history than he. If you share with him what all that's transpired since we began our search, we may be able to point out something that he may be able to point out something that we've missed. I know it's a lot to ask, Aldine, but the safety of Thavnir depends on it. And please, give my family my regards. My mother should be able to tell you where in Tuliolal my father is staying. Once you've finished, let us meet in the Aetheryte Plaza in Rattatan to share what we've learned. You got it. They actually combined a couple of emotes there. Like a nod and the little chest bump. Tuliolal. I have the return portal there. Like, I will say, even if that little bit of the quest line's kind of like what's the term I want to use here? Like, ill-constructed. There are moments in this quest that were there were still moments in this quest that were really good. In particular, that bit where we were kind of like focusing in on the magic is like... Yeah, maybe that's where all the cutscene budget went. But yeah, not that there isn't like stuff to actually like enjoy in this quest line, to be clear. It's just like that particular bit of writing is, oh, you're wearing armor we got from the first. I recognize it because Bevern uses it as a red mage outfit. Yeah, like, it was clearly, like, it's clearly experimenting with a few things here, and even if the writing might not vibe well with me, I still think it's been good so far. Oh, if it isn't Aldine, but I don't see Tepeke with you. Did you come alone? Yeah, she's still out looking for it. Glad to hear my letter arrived safely, and that Tepeke seems to be as tenacious as ever in her search. Her father, Netse, has already arrived in Tuliolal, but has barely stayed in one place since. He seems desperate to help Tepeke from a distance in whatever way he can. He told me he was traveling to Piarionan Plain in search of information he assured me was quite vital. If you wish to speak with him, he'll doubtless be in the area. Okay. Yeah, obviously in Tural. Yeah, I completely forgot they're from Tural. Like, I could just give them American accents and that would fit in. I do wonder, like, I pointed out when I was here last for the MSQ, but It is kind of a shame we didn't delve a little bit more into the Hetsonen kind of, not even like way of life. Well, just them in general. It feels like we kind of, we had a very brief run-in to allude to what would become the, you know, Solution 9 issue. But we really didn't go into much of them after that. We did kind of, like, dig into some, like, lost culture of Yokui that were around here at some point. But the Hitsona in general we haven't really touched. I'll have to see if there's, like, interesting side quests to do in this area that might shine some light on some stuff like that. It's probably not a bad idea. Like, there's a hell of a lot of side quests, and it may not be something I'd ever stream, because there's just so fucking many of them. It might be just good to have in the background, or that I do in the background and can bring forward once I kind of know a bit more, or, you know, when it becomes relevant. But, yeah. It's kind of a shame we didn't learn more about them. But, here I guess is an opportunity for them to actually do that still. Alright. Otsohi Wete. Oh, thank you, Traveler. I overextended myself. But recently recovered from a serious injury and was a fool to confront a beast alone. Yeah, so I heard. So you're the Aldine I've heard so much about. I owe you many thanks for all you've done to recover the Perch of the Apex. News of your progress in Thavnir is most heartening. Despite my position as its guardian, I never knew it could rain stones from the heavens. Huh. Since arriving in Tuliolal, I've done what I can to shed light upon the Tural Vitral sealed within the treasure. Oh yeah, we never really touched much on that, did we? After the nations of Tural were unified, some left our village to build new homes in the city. I've sought them out to see if they know anything of use. Fortunately, none could offer insight into the treasure's magics. One of them told me that owls lurked around this place. And since the Tural Vidral sealed within the Perch of the Apex was once an owl, it seemed logical to pursue such a quarry. I thought perhaps I could glean something about the ancient beasts from their behavior. Like as not, some fundamental aspects remain the same even after transformation. But having heard your account, there is one fundamental difference that stands out. As far as I'm aware, no owl native to these lands possesses the ability to hurl rocks, large or otherwise. No doubt the Tural Vidral gained this power following its metamorphosis. See, I would have thought the other way around, that the artifact is actually, like, possessed of a lot of earth power, of earth-aspected ether, to trap something that would probably be more wind-aspected, because they're kind of, like, opposites in that way. That would have been my thought, and it's just instant. Like, you're not gaining the powers from the Tural Vidral specifically, you're actually invoking powers that were used to seal it, which would give you, you know, acknowledgeable abilities of that particular ether type, but guess maybe not. Obviously, having them come from the Tural Vidral is a lot more interesting, to be fair, because then you're invoking the power of that, and you can explore the history of that beast and stuff like that, but, yeah. I do believe, however, that it would retain Nal's core instincts. The one, that one you fought didn't strike unprovoked. Instead, it watched me from afar with fear in its eyes. While this is normal behavior for most animals, I was surprised by how suddenly it descended upon me the moment I started approaching. It sensed danger and attacked preemptively. I had the same thought. The owl sensed the threat and chose to confront it rather than run from it. The same impulse may have driven the Tural Vidral. Indeed, that correlates with something I heard from one of my countrymen who had relocated to Tuliolal. He spoke of a continuation of the tales passed down from the elders. No hunter's arrow could fell the apex. It was struck down in a storm of its own wrath, made wild by a heart affright. Thus was it sealed away at last. Now, judging from the owl's behaviors, I can theorize that the treasure is activated when its bearer senses danger. According to the story, this power can easily get out of hand if its bearer is panicked. Right, which would explain why he couldn't invoke the powers when he was kind of like charging in, but once the beast started approaching and he started getting scared, it actually managed to evoke. I was thinking back to that scene, thinking about, like, was there, like, a series of words he said that activated that? Was it, like, emotions that did? But it seems to be emotions. Of course, this theory must be tested first. Virazan will certainly use the Perch of the Apex again. When he does, I ask that you and Tepeke pay special attention to the circumstances leading to its activation. Alright. You have a cool fucking design, dude. Can you actually get this outfit, I wonder? You have my thanks. Loath though I am to admit it, I've yet to recover from my long convalescence. And I would only be a burden to you. I wish I could aid my daughter. Oh my god, sorry. I brushed my teeth before. I feel like I'm still a bit congested from that. I wish I could aid my daughter another way, but you more than make up for my absence. Please lend her every bit of knowledge you have, Aldine. I pray that my daughter will soon return home, treasure in hand. Hey, you can bet on it. Pray, return to Tepeke and give her my regards. I only hope an old man's wild theory can help you in your quest. Man, I gotta hang out in these areas with the music on more. I haven't done too much. I should probably faint grind at some point. Actually, that might be a decent thing to do while I'm waiting for cues to pop for Dancer. But yeah, I haven't spent much time in those areas. Like, I'm a lot more familiar with the Endwalker areas, and there was a weird feeling coming over me when we were just sticking around in Radzatan of like, oh yeah, it's Endwalker all over again. And then we went back to Shock Tural, and I'm like, oh right, Dawn Trail. Right, that's here, isn't it? It was a very weird moment. Aldine, you came just in time. Virazan has shown his face in Radzatan. You can tell me about your journey to Tural later. For now, come with me. Oh god. Are you surprised? Thanks to the sage counsel of a fellow hero, I have decided to doff my mask. Although my face may be unfamiliar, I believe you know who I am. I was once the Justicia, but now you may call me Virazan. I am Thavnia's protector, its savior, its hero. You may have heard salacious rumors that I have orchestrated the very attacks which I so valiantly drive back, that I was behind the catastrophe at the Uznair canals. I am here to assure you that those are false aspersions, all cast by those who are envious of their betters. I give my life for this fair city and its people, and I would give more still if I could. What should we do? Might be best to lock him up before this gets out of hand. Wait, we don't want him raining down rocks with all these bystanders around. For now, keep a careful eye on him. All I ask is for your respect, your adoration. A dream held by all, but realized only by the few. And I would be, one of those few. I have proven myself worthy of being your savior, and now, with an entire city watching with bated breath, I shall declare my intent to reach even higher. Yes, For I can protect you all better as your ruler. I shall retire the mantle of hero and take up the crown as the king of Radzat-Han. Oh man, this quest's gonna be all about people being exceptionally delusional, isn't it? Bastard's gone mad. I wield power unassailable. With me on your throne, you would never again have cause to fear. Like, buddy, I'm sorry. I don't think people are gonna think you're better suited to ruling than fucking Vritra. Like, this is reaching incredulous levels of... If people actually go with this, I'd be very surprised. Like, if he's not just throwing his reputation in the dirt at this point, I'd be... yeah, I'd be shocked. All would live in peace, all would shower me with love. They would shout it to the heavens, and from that love would spring a new Radzat-Han. A greater Radzat-Han. Enough of your lies, Virazan. The power you wield protects none but yourself. To everyone else, it brings only ruin. Of course, the road to greatness is ever paved with necessary sacrifices. Bro! Come on! Yet so long as your ruler lives, Radzat-Han shall know naught but prosperity. He didn't even... What? Huh? You think you're better than Master Vritra? He bore this city and its people on his back while you look fit to collapse under the weight of your own armor. You're no leader, you're a damn joke. Does this man speak for you all? Is there not one among you who would follow me into a brighter future? Ah, but I am nothing if not magnanimous. Until you find the wisdom to accept me as ruler, I shall continue to stand vigilant as your eternal shield. Stop this, Virazan. You're only making it worse for yourself. Can't you see you'll become a laughingstock? Give up this facade and answer for your sins. Do so now, and the Radiant Host may yet grant you mercy. My sins? Are you not the one poisoning the people against me? Do your worst, I dare you. It will only make me more powerful. I know not what is in your heart, but please end this madness. End it and return to me, my son. Don't get any closer! You two? Why are you... What? Don't! If we fight here, there's no telling how many innocents will be wounded. Pathetic as ever. I tired this farce. Don't you dare quote that line at me, you little bitch. How fucking dare you? I have declared my intent to become King of Radzat-Han. As for you two, this is no place for a battle between heroes. We shall meet again, mark my words, and then we shall decide who is the mightier. Can't risk confrontation in the city. Yep. Let him choose his battleground. Choose his grave. You're right, of course. Much as I hate to see Virazan walk free, we've yet to ascertain the extent of his power. But now we must abide our time. Notice that despite all his proclaimed love for its people, he didn't even look back at them as he retreated. Perhaps he couldn't bear to look at them in the eyes. Or one of them, at least. Yeah, like, he almost died. He straight up almost died. Like, that would have killed him. Like, having your own son do that to you and seemingly not think twice is like... Whew! That's a rough one. Huh? Hello, stranger. You're a challenger too. Seems House Senair's deigned to open up part of their treasure vault in an effort to lift spirits in the city. I don't think I've ever been here. I don't really recognize this place. Because, like, the entrance is right there, and I think when you get toured through the place initially, you head up the stairs up there. Is this the treasure vault stuff? Whatever. You can think about that later. I've just had a thought. We should speak with Virazan's father, Aldine. Oh, that was a disaster. Virazan is truly lost. At the very least, he's committed himself to fomenting unrest within Razat Han. And although he's my son, I cannot condone his actions. His words are grand but empty. That ridiculous armor is nothing more than gaudy decoration. He's truly the embodiment of false heroism. What's more, this latest debacle has surely made him a criminal in the eyes of the Radiant Host. All I can do now is beg them to grant my son some small degree of clemency. Before you go, may I ask you something? After Virazan called down the rocks, did you see his expression? I thought it peculiar, but I'm curious as to what his father saw in that face. It was a familiar look. When I used to scold him for losing himself in make-believe, he would get that same cast in his eyes. A look of petulant rage, as if he resented me for pulling him out of his reverie into harsh reality. He hasn't changed. Apologies, but I must go. Just as I thought, even clad in his shining armor, but he can't bear to be told no. And now his childish games have taken a malevolent turn. But for now, we should return to Yedley Mad. I still yet to hear what you learned at Tural, after all. Yeah, we can talk on the way. Or we'll talk when you get back. Yeah, like, this particular bit is going good. I like it. Yeah, it really feels like just that one scene is kind of a bump in the road, which, you know, kind of makes sense given the circumstances. Or it could make sense given the circumstances, but, yeah. Oh, Black Mage. I'm gonna turn off that feature at some point. I really only want it there when, MSQ's, like, really busy. Now that we have some room to breathe, I'd like to hear about your journey to Tural. Did my father have anything to share? Why are we playing the fucking sad job quest music? Oh no, he's well enough to go chasing after owls and such. I wish he'd take more care. Thank you for saving him and for bringing me his theory concerning the treasure. If it really is triggered by a sense of impending danger, that might explain why Virazan had trouble using it the first time. He wasn't truly afraid of that small fungi until it was almost upon him. It also explains how he could wield the Apex's powers despite having no training in magics. Responds to emotion, not intent. So much has fallen into place. He goaded the Radiants into apprehending him because he knew the threat would be answered. You saw how nonchalantly he quit that plaza, almost as if to find someone to stop him. Virazan truly believes himself to be untouchable. I think his words and deeds align with the theory well enough. As for that curious fragment of a story... Huh? Seemed to imply that the Tural Vidral lost control in a panic. Perhaps its strength grows in proportion to the danger it senses? When that danger is too great, well... You saw what happened in the Uznir canals at Radzat-Han. You were present both times, as were others who wished Virazan ill. Both times we saw stones much larger than we've seen before. Now I understand why he's so eager to face you. An opponent of your caliber will strike fear into Virazan's very core, and that fear will summon a power greater than any he's ever known. Power enough to bring a hero to his knees. Or so he thinks. But we know better. We'll use that arrogance to our advantage and bring him crashing down to earth. Although we may have to contend with falling rocks for a time, in a straight fight he'll be outmatched. So we strike fast, and we strike hard, until that fancy armor is nothing more than mangled steel. Although you may prefer to put your foes to sleep and whatnot, we know he has an arsenal of alchemical concoctions at his disposal. That's why I suggest a bit of good old-fashioned brute force. While you unleash your most fearsome destructive spells, I'll be your shield. Don't even think of holding back. You got it. Look forward to fighting by your side. Now we simply have to find a suitable arena. I should consult the Radiant hosts to the location. Once that's decided, we'll confront Virazan for the final time. And some Ronic. Meet for the hell of it. Heroes and Pretenders. Tepake is ready to tear down a false hero. Fuck yeah. You'll be pleased to know the Radiant hosts were most helpful in finding a place fit for a duel. When I saw it, even I began to believe our encounter would be one for the songs. Speaking of which, it seems your name is on the lips of all and sundry. People already consider you the true savior of Radzat-Han and believe you will bring Virazan the Deceitful to justice. We apologize for putting so much weight on your shoulders, but something tells me you're used to it. Yeah, that's an understatement. Final showdown shall take place in the mountain pass leading to Khadgar. Of course. Where great crystals will stand as witness to its conclusion. Suitably romantic and suitably isolated. Radiant hosts have spread word throughout Thavnir that a hero has risen to challenge Virazan, and his pride will force him to answer. The entrance to the pass is in Giant Skull grounds. Let's head there at once and to await his arrival. Hell yeah. Beat that fucking ass. What is this fight even gonna be like? Is he actually gonna be doing anything? I mean, his father did say he was good with a bow, but does that translate to actually, does that translate to him actually fighting, potentially? Who knows? I've said it before, but I really appreciate that in this game they just let all mounts be flying. Like, fuck the logic. It's one of the annoying things about WoW. It's just like, oh, no, you can't fly with this one. And then some of them are still like birds or dragons, and it's like, come on. I mean, there is something to that, because then you can give people mount... Well, you can... I mean, you don't need to do it this way, but you can give people mounts early on that aren't flying mounts, and then there's still incentive to seek out other mounts for functionality purposes, but, eh. Alrighty then. Srammel here has opened the way towards Khadgar. I'm certain Virazan will arrive before long, and then we'll wipe that arrogant grin off his face. First, we should check our gear and gird our loins for battle. You ready, Aldine? Sure am. Let's get his ass. Yeah, this is out where we saw Rubicante for the first time. There he is. Through the cragged peaks of Khadgar, desolate winds blow over the field of battle. Oh, what a fitting location you have chosen for the conclusion of this legendary rivalry. I will say the one thing that's missing here is kind of more of an indication of how strong he is. We've done no battle against him either. It's like I feel like it would have been feel like it would have been more appropriate to have something like that earlier on and see like actually like feel the danger of like trying to dodge all the rocks and shit. Like hell, maybe we try and confront him early in that little part of the canals, and we end up in a duty where like actually we're just gonna lose eventually because like we damage him, and that means that all the rocks keep like having some like mechanical thing to touch upon to then like iterate on here. I feel like would have made this like a lot better, but. I was right not to face you before, an environs unsuited to a struggle between titans. Now my patience has been rewarded, and my heart races in anticipation. I knew you would answer our challenge. You would never be able to stomach the people calling you a craven. Such boldness in the face of impending doom. Have you not realized by now that as long as I wield the perch of the apex, I'm invincible? I'll soon put that to the test. You rely too much upon stolen power. It deludes you. You claim to be a savior to the people, but they have seen through your lies. Even your own father can scarcely bear to look at you. You're nothing but a small man hiding within the hollow facade of a hero. Today we tear that facade down. Will you now? You may have the metal, but have you puissance to claim the mantle of hero? My mantle? Yeah? Are you fucking looking at me when you say that? Is this really the battle music? That's fucking hilarious. Time for words has passed. Follow my lead. I can't believe this is the music we're using. Incredible. I'll be crushing the hail of stones. I think I'm good, personally. Impressive footwork, but all legs must tire in time. Oh, here, I think. No, I got hit. Yeah. As they say, yet I will potions concocted by Thavnir's thing. Done well, but your fight ends here. My alchemical minions shall be your downfall. Oh, goody. defeated them already. But of course, who would wish to duel to end so early? Uh-huh. Don't you ever shut up. Real. Get his ass. What? My armor! My armor! I've never witnessed before. The apex roars with fury untold. Uh-huh. Cannot be. I'm meant to be king. Dying. He probably runs away, doesn't he? Yeah, of course. Oh, good. Uh-huh. Oh, that's difficult. I have not been playing much Pictomancer recently. From what I hear, you don't actually care if you overcap on Holy, which is really weird. Perhaps we should consider a draw? No. Oh my god, why? No, please. Please? Lay down your weapon. Oh, we're probably... yeah. I'm gonna lose my... everything. Fuck. I'm utterly defenseless. This rotten piece of wood was supposed to make me invincible. I can't move. The artifact, it's... oh no. What is... oh no. What is going on now? It's out of control. Yippee. Can't suppress the fear in his heart. The Apex is responding in kind. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of what we wanted, to be fair. The fucking music's still going. Fucking kills me, dude. It's so good. Oh, fuck. Ugh. Dunce. Not so tough now, are you? He's out cold. Now to take back the treasure. What? This can't happen. A hero never falls. I must retreat. Yes, a tactical retreat. A noble retreat. So that the Justicia may live to save another day. Bro. Huh? Oof. Taste your medicine, asshole. Fuck you. Huh. That's good. Suppose the apex wasn't finished yet. And it seems that Virazan, in his cowardly haste, neglected to look skyward. Was it an unfortunate accident? Or fate delivering his just desserts? Don't like that angle. It's very cartoony in that way. Claimed to be Radz-at-Hand's savior, yet he sowed only discontent among its people. Perhaps some day in a sunless jail, perhaps some days in a sunless jail will give him time to reflect upon the error of his ways. Now I've finally recovered the perch of the apex. Thank you for coming this far with me, Aldine. They're doing that, like, kitty face a lot. Smiling cat. Hell of a lot. Oh, yeah, right. Battle was hard fought, but we made it through. Virazan is the responsibility of the Radiant Host now. Now that I've done what I pledged to do, I must return home and bring the good tidings to my mother and father. Yet, before doing so, there are many others I want to thank. In the meantime, can I count on you to meet my family at Tural for one final farewell? My parents will surely be glad to see you again. I'm glad there's at least, like, a little bit of acknowledgement of, like, hey, there's a lot of people here that I need to thank, too. Which, I like that she's kind of just resourceful and it's not really questioned. It's just like, yeah, she is. And as much as I would have, I think I still would have liked having some focus on it to some degree. Like, pointing out that, like, hey, you're a lot more resourceful than people we usually run into in this situation. And, you know, could have just learned, like, oh, yeah, I got it from my mom and dad, and obviously I'm really worried about things happening here, or things happening with the relic, so yeah, I'm kind of trying to make sure I'm crossing my I's, dotting my T's, and all that. Why, if it isn't Aldine, pleased to say I've quite recovered since we last met. Perhaps one day I'll have the chance to save you in return. Yeah, maybe. I didn't expect to see you in Tural again so soon. Is Tepeke well? Yep, we got the thing. She really did it. And the man who stole our sacred treasure will answer for his deeds. Father, Mother, it's good to see you. I'm sure Aldine's already told you what happened. I couldn't have retrieved our treasure without him. So we've heard. And Aldine also told us your wits and bravery were essential to your success. On behalf of our whole village, I thank you for guiding Tepeke in her quest, Aldine. No problem. Now, the perch of the apex must be returned, put under careful guard once again. The story of the Tural demise proves that we are not meant to wield its powers as our own. I'm sorry, Father, but I disagree. Once I return to the village, I want to tell everyone what happened in Thavnir. They need to know what the treasure is capable of, or else we risk forgetting once again. Yeah. I won't deny that the Apex's power is dangerous. I saw with my own eyes what happens when it's wielded with abandon. Yet, during the course of our search, I also saw potential. If we fully understood how it worked, we could use it without risk to ourselves or our other people. Their accent fell over. We could turn something we once feared to our advantage, instead of letting it become obscured in legend. I can see the reason in that. We must be ever ready for danger, even in times of peace. Should our safety be threatened, the treasure may grant us a means to protect ourselves. Can we be trusted to use it responsibly? Great power breeds great desire. Someone with the same ambitions as Virazan may arise again, perhaps from among our own. I dare say that once I've regaled them with the rise and fall of the Justicar, or Justicia, they'll think twice before following in his misguided footsteps. As our forebears relied on the legend of the Tural fate to forbid the treasure's use, we can rely on the story of Virazan's fate to urge caution. And this time we have someone who lived through it to tell the tale. Of course, I'm going to be guiding people in safe use of a potentially dangerous treasure. If I'm going to be guiding it, I see no choice but to inherit my father's position as its guardian. Some may raise their eyebrows at the prospect of a loose-lipped Tepeke serving as the perch of the Apex's protector, but I've grown from my mistakes. And who better to tell the tale of Virazan and Tepeke's failures? Okay, like, one small thing, I feel like... And this is the kind of, like, counterpoint to Tepeke being really capable, is, like, if you want to say this bit, I feel like there should have been a bit more of this. Because, like, yeah, like, it's kind of just in the background, and, like, I would have liked that to come to the forefront a bit more. And there's definitely some things here and there you could have done to show Tepeke, like, you know, again, like, underestimating the power of the thing, for example, you know? When we get into that thing where we end, like, if we had a duty at, like, level 96 or whatever it was, where we actually fought Virazan and just completely underestimated the Apex, that could have been a learning moment, but we really didn't have that, and kind of focusing on, like, hey, Virazan and Tepeke both had failures, is kind of like, I mean, I guess, but, like, we didn't really... we saw way more of one than the other. Your only mistake was in trusting Virazan, same as I and many others. But unlike him, you have the willpower to overcome your own failings. Over the course of your long and arduous journey, you gained a wealth of experiences, and your efforts have finally been rewarded. You took responsibility for your actions, and by doing so proved your conviction to our people. They shall listen to this proposition with open minds, I am certain. Now we must say farewell, as much as it pains me to do so. I owe you a debt I could never hope to repay. Once I return to the village, I'll do my utmost to protect the treasure we worked so hard to retrieve. Till next we meet, may fortune smile upon you. Hell yeah. May falling rocks not be upon your houses. And that's 1 of 5 down. Yippee! So yeah, that was pretty good. Like, I already kind of voiced, like, the problem I had, but yeah, I think having seen the whole thing play out now, it definitely feels like, the story got, like, a little too ambitious, or, like, at some point they had to really, like, cut down what they were doing. And thus it led to kind of shit playing out the way it has here, or there. I'm just gonna run around and see if I can see them. I don't think I can. I don't think there's another settlement around here. No. Kinda would've been cool to see one of them around here, but doesn't look like they are. Oh. Or it might be a completely different village, too. Like, Netse might have just been around here. Oh. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, a bit of a shorter stream again, but... yeah, I think between not sleeping well and it actually being a sunny day, it's probably a good idea for me to not push it. I'd honestly prefer to, have a little bit of a, reprieve if, well, yeah, if my body is like, hey, you need to sleep more, I should probably be fucking resting. I did, between, like, work and the Dawn Trail kind of marathon I had, I definitely, I think I definitely stretched myself a bit too thin there, but, you know. I thought I could kind of match it, and especially with the Path of Exile stream, Path of Exile League launch coming up next weekend, I should probably, like, make sure I find time for myself before I throw myself into that. But yeah, speaking of, so this coming week, it's probably going to be busy. I don't think there's much in the way of 14 happening. We've been doing extremes at random points, but I haven't really felt like streaming them. I might try and stream them a bit more, just so there's... like, we're at the point where we don't really need the stream footage, if that makes sense. Like, we've got them on farm, so it's kind of whatever. So yeah, I don't know what's going to be happening during the week. The one thing I know I have kind of teed up is Elden Ring. So probably do some of that, head through more of the DLC. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be too much outside of that. But because we've got the Path of Exile League launch on the weekend, Friday night there will be no stream, because I'll be going to bed early to wake up on Saturday my time, 6 AM, to play Path of Exile. It's like 10 to 11-ish hour stream where I just blow through the entire campaign. There's been a lot of shake-up in starter builds, there's been a big shake-up in the balance in the game. I don't know what I'm gonna be playing, because I kind of still want to go Wave of Conviction, Elementalist, but I'm still honestly deciding, because there might be a better starter, and with the Gladiator rework, I kind of want to go for Bleed something. Again, I love my dot builds. But yeah, with some of the changes they're making to Gladiator and Bleed, like, yeah, I kind of want to see what that's about. So yeah, I might start something different. In fact, that might be a decent, stream, idea, is running through, like, the first 2 acts, back to back and seeing how I start. Or I might do that on stream, I might do that off stream, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, oh my god, that means Savage is gonna coincide with, the League launch. Because after next weekend is when, Savage Arcadian releases, so, my time's gonna kind of be busy. Or I'm gonna be very busy and not have much time. But yeah, we'll leave things here. I don't think, Luca's still streaming, is she? No, yeah, so we'll just end here then. Yeah, so, probably some 14 during the week. Maybe some Path of Exile or Elden Ring, depending on how I'm feeling. And then a big weekend. I don't know if I'm going to do anything Sunday. I might do some more of the role quests if I'm feeling up to it, but I might just want to kind of know life Path of Exile for a little bit. Especially with Savage coming up, I probably want to get, like, a good start going. We'll see, though. I'm not 100% sure which way I'll go with it, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, that's the rough plans. So, thank you very much for watching live or on the VODs. I really appreciate it. Hope you all have a lovely day, and hope to see you all next time.